Okay, well, welcome again to another episode of Straight Talk with Ed and Doc. Ed is right over here, the gentleman with the fashionista glasses, beautiful blue eyes, beautiful blue eyes.
He's making fun of my glasses.
No, I like your glasses.
Do you?
I do.
Really?
I should get a pair like that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. They're very fashionable.
Feel my hair. You might like my hair. Hey, isn't that nice?
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
It's gorgeous. I can see you spend hours in the salon.
Oh, you have no
Hours.
idea. You don't have. Oh, look at that. He wants up in your lap.
You can come up here if you like.
Well, this is
I
one
have-
thing about it. This is a new doggy, and he's happy.
Yeah, we do it doggy style. That's all
What do
there
you-
is to it. You know,
Oh, my God. I thought I was the hook. I didn't catch that one until it came out of your mouth.
In any case, yeah. So I guess we should just find out that if you had anything interesting happen to you this past week. Maybe
Oh,
just
the past week, I guess
we
some of
can
you
review.
people saw the commercial. I've been rather quiet lately in the past couple of weeks. Hey, buddy, down. No. I got this new puppy is a pain in the ass, but I love him already. Oh, he likes to nip.
But apart from this little guy, your week has been okay.
Yeah, I've been working
Any highlights?
down to him. No, Montreal lost last night.
Yeah, I heard.
That was a bad one. I didn't
Yeah,
like
too
that.
bad.
But other than that, Trudeau and Fluffy haven't met yet this afternoon.
Yeah, well, Trudeau. Yeah, if he
Because
gets
he made a mess.
if
He
he gets on the news one more time and tells us how many more million vaccines he's ordered instead of how many people are getting their needles, I'm going to puke. I really am. I'm getting tired of this. We have people still dying. We have people still getting sick. We have closed down. We have shops closed down. Businesses going out of business.
No, it's not nice.
And
It's not nice.
the vaccine it's at the rate of a third world country, probably at worse than a third world country. Getting 1,000 or 2,000 vaccines in people a day is ridiculous. We have 30 million people here. This is going to take forever. How could we wait so long? What is the problem here? How can a country that's supposed to be part of the G7, the G20, and the G50 and the G80? How come we can't get vaccines as fast as anybody else? Trudeau, why can't we get our vaccines as fast as anybody else? What's going on? What contract did you sign? What bureaucrats do you have working this thing? What kind of preps did you make? This is really absurd. And so all of our staff. I got vaccinated because of being a healthcare worker. So my staff got vaccinated as being healthcare workers. We got notification today that instead of getting our vaccine 2 or 3 weeks hence, now we're going to get the vaccine 4 months down the road. Okay, look, I have no problem with that from a physiological point of view. It's probably going to work. But the question is, why do we need the vaccines that late? Because there are not enough vaccines to go around, so they want to vaccinate all the people with at least one dose. Understood. But why should that have to be? Not now. Why is it now? I thought you ordered the vaccines in 2020 for delivery. When did you say they were going to be delivered? You said March. We're going to start having a ramping up and a major intake of vaccines. Well, where's it going? Vaccinating 80-year-olds for a whole month? And then 75-year-olds for another month? At the rate we're going, we're not going to have anybody vaccinated completely till Christmas time. And that's absurd.
No.
Why? And this other thing with AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca is a fine vaccine. But the company itself has said very early on that they saw a better result with younger people than with older people. So why are you deciding to foist the AstraZeneca vaccine on older people? What is the point? We know that it doesn't work as well as the other vaccines. It may work for older people, but even the company says that vaccine will not guarantee that you don't get COVID. It'll keep you out of hospital, it'll keep you from dying, but it doesn't mean you won't get sick. Do you want all our old people to get sick with all their complications, all their diabetics, all their heart disease, all their lung disease? Is it okay for the old people to get sick with COVID, even though they don't died from COVID, but now they'll be dying from other things. This is absurd. You know, you knew that the AstraZeneca vaccine was going to come in with a very short expiry date. Why wasn't anything done in advance to get these vaccines into people fast enough? Well, you have the old people coming in because they were planned anyway. So then you're going to just give them the AstraZeneca vaccine, or is it because you don't have any other vaccine to offer them? It's really miserable. It really is miserable. And I don't blame the provincial government for the supply of the vaccine. That's definitely a federal matter, and that's been botched. Obviously, it's been botched. We're one of the slowest countries in the world to get the vaccines into people. You know, a country like the United States, which did piss all for their citizens when COVID was around, is at least now getting the vaccines by the millions into people. And they're putting people into baseball stadiums and football stadiums and getting the vaccines. They're not as concerned about the bureaucracy. They're just getting the vaccines into people.
Right? Shut that dog up. I don't know how.
Anyway,
Too much of a puppy.
I can rant on this all day, but I blame the federal government for messing up the order, and I blame the provincial government for not being on time with whatever their website was, whatever organization they needed to get things ready to go. I blame them for not being on time for that. That should have been done well in advance. That should have been done in December, even before we were thinking about vaccines. I thought General Hillier was the guy who was going to fix all this. You know, he was going to get everything all ready for us. Everything was going to be in place. You're going to have the websites, you're going to have the people, you're going to have the locations. Everything will be done, ready to go for the vaccines. Doesn't look like that happened. And why did he leave all of a sudden? I thought he was going to be part of the solution to get the vaccines into people. So before we have vaccines, he's retiring now because he set up a few locations and he's retired. So who's now organizing the vaccines? This is a real absurd situation. It's a joke, and I think as voters we should let our feelings know to the people we elected. No, this is ridiculous, really, and people are dying. That's the problem. People are dying because they haven't gotten their vaccines on time. And we know the vaccines work because we know that in the nursing homes where they were very aggressive in getting them done early, the rate of death and morbidity, the rate of death and illness is way down now. Fantastic. What about the rest of our population? What about the other old people who are not in nursing homes? So, yeah, he's a busy guy. Anyway, this has to be fixed, and it has to be fixed quickly. And then the other thing is we have businesses that are going out of business day by day because people they can't open anything up. Everything is still on a lockdown because there aren't enough vaccines out there. That should not happen. Really, not now. It should have been all planned well in advance. But you know, I'm part of the healthcare system too, and I see how things are slow. I see how things are delayed. I see how bureaucracy interferes with my work every single day. You know, if I don't fill a form properly, everything's rejected and delayed, and I have to redo this and redo that. It seems to be part of the healthcare system here. You know, everything has to be a bureaucracy before you get anything done. Why should there be 54 different methods of administering or distributing a vaccine in Ontario?
No barking.
That's a joke. Why? Because
good boy.
some premier decided to put another level of bureaucracy in between the ministry and the people, so that she can't be blamed for how the healthcare system is working in Ontario. So she put the LINs in, and the LINs, now there are 54 separate LINs, each one responsible for distributing the vaccine in their own particular way. Come on, and these people are being paid six figures to do that job in the LINs.
I wish I heard everything you said because I could see you're really pissed.
Well, I am upset, and I'm upset for a number of reasons. You know, I got my vaccine because I'm a healthcare worker. My wife didn't get a vaccine. What happens if I bring something home by accident? Because I've been working with other people.
No. And
we still have COVID hanging around. My wife is as old as I am. You know, I'm 70. She's 70. So she should be getting the vaccines now, not the 80-year-olds would be The way I see it, in Canada, we should have the 80-year-olds being vaccinated for the first 2-3 weeks. Then you go down to the 70-year-olds for another 2 or 3 weeks. And that's the goal we should set. Every 2 or 3 weeks, you move down another 10 years, and get them done. If you don't have enough people, teach people how to vaccinate. It's a no-brainer. I've shown patients how to give needles. It's a no-brainer. You don't need to be a genius to give a needle.
No, I know that.
You know, it's easy. It's just easy. A few simple lessons to learn, and you know, you get monitored for a few sessions.
I had that chemo shot. I was giving it to myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things to learn, but it's not like a major thing. You don't have to be certified. You know, that's another thing. Everything you have to be certified. So now you have to go through another piece of bureaucracy. Certified. You got to get something signed to say that you were certified. Because some lawyer may sue you because you didn't give you didn't do the vaccine quite the right way.
You're going back in the cage.
It's absurd. It's just a comedy. And like a lot of things with COVID, there's been all the defects in our system are being magnified with COVID, and this is showing what the major defects are in our healthcare system: slow, sluggish, bureaucratic. Not caring about people dying, that's a big one. They're not caring about when people die. If they did, things would go faster. But it's not.
You know, I understand you being pissed, but I think what Trudeau did is he went overboard at the beginning, and he doesn't know how all the money he spent,
well, maybe
where he spent it. And I know everybody's looking at him as if he's a thief, and I believe he is. As far as I'm concerned, everything he touches, he makes money on. And maybe if we get lucky, if everybody noticed what happened, you got Mr. Fantino gave up his shares in the marijuana company just a couple of days ago. It's in the news today. Yes, he did.
What did he get? What did he get for that? What did he get for his shares?
Well, I don't know, but the bottom line is he won.
I'd like to know that.
Yeah, but he could have held on to it, and he didn't. And I think if that man could be the leader of the Liberal Party, I think he would make a great prime minister. And I mean it. He's one
for the Liberals.
Absolutely.
But he's a conservative. He's a conservative.
Yeah, but if he ran it, he would take the spot from Trudeau, because they had nobody in the country now has any faith in him, and he's trying to make the polls look like, oh, I'm percentage higher. He's trying to bring in people that don't understand English. Hey, I brought you here. You owe me.
Yeah, really.
You know, I mean, that's what he's doing.
That's what it looks like he's doing.
He is doing it. I mean, there's no question. It's fact.
I think the only people who really could honestly say that he did something for them were the immigrants that he brought in. Apart from that,
but he did it for himself.
Well, yeah,
for him.
Of course.
He didn't do it for them. He did it
votes.
to get more votes.
Those are votes, exactly. So,
and they were talking about some 50 some odd communities that'll be in our country shortly. 50, I think it was 55. Did you read that in the paper?
About what?
There'll be about 55 different communities in Canada.
In new ethnic groups, you mean?
New ethnic groups, but communities. They call it. There are communities.
Yeah.
They live in different places, and
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with immigration as long as everybody gets.
For the purpose of what he's doing it, they shouldn't be allowed to vote until they've been here for at least.
Well, they have to be citizens to be able to
vote. But it takes them how long?
4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. But he's been around now. How long?
Yeah. Well, he's going to have an election in a year and a half, I think.
No, he's going to have the election probably this spring.
Is it this fall?
They're talking about it, and what's I think they can get him out of there anyway if the NDP are starting to turn on him, and that's a big mistake.
Well, I'm not sure. You know,
because they were just, why let him get away with it? They could have ruined the government right at the beginning.
Well, I think the problem is that they weren't ready themselves to
the knowledge. They didn't have the knowledge there, and they probably let him do things.
And the other thing, of course, is with COVID, they're afraid about what the turnout would be and how they can control the COVID thing as well. Having an election, I mean, was there been 2 elections with COVID in place, and I'm not quite sure what the turnout was, but depending on where it is, it could be good, but you could have people not showing up. Like I can see where I live in Brampton, where the population is so dense and COVID is pretty high. that I can see people not showing for a vote because they're afraid of getting sick. So and I think that's what that's what the politicians don't want to have happen, that people avoid the vote just because of COVID. So most people would rather see the COVID finished and have an election, but Trudeau is just really right now just a pile of hot air, just a pile of hot air, just promises all over the place. And it's just the way he does the promises. He looks like some kind of Hollywood actor who's doing these promises, and the way he talks and everything, the smooth talking. I'm tired of the smooth talking. If it accomplished something worthwhile, I don't mind it. But the smooth talking and the empty promises. And by the way, after spending a few $100 billion on the whole system, we still have Indigenous people with no bloody water. Give me a break here. What's going on? They can't spend $1 billion. They can't spend several $100 billion on COVID. You can't spend $1 million, $2 million, maybe even $1 billion on the water supply for the Indigenous people.
Well, he says that the tax, the carbon tax.
And how many people are dying, by the way, from that lack of water in the indigenous areas? Dying, just again dying, right? So.
But he's not a good person, and he's more into himself. And you know what? His buddies, Lavalin. I bet you they're gonna alienate him.
Who's that?
Trudeau.
His cabinet, you mean?
No, Lavalin. The
SNC. Well, they've been what should I call it? The bedfellows with the Liberal Party for years. SNC.
Yeah, but since his father.
Since the father, exactly.
So there's some interest there somewhere.
Oh yeah. They've had it cushy for a long time.
Wow.
Very long time. Whoa, jeez.
Did you see that jump?
Yeah, he's quite a jumper.
I used to be able to jump that high.
With 4 legs, like your hands and feet?
Oh yeah, I got 2, yeah. What they're fighting for, this program is gonna go down in history.
Yeah, well, that's, like I say, when you do it doggy style, this is what happens. So.
You know what? I think what I'm gonna do is keep the doggies in another place when we come in.
Yeah, I can.
Right, because he was barking out there in the bedroom, and he doesn't want to be. And now he goes and steals my tie, and he knows I'd be pissed with that. How he got that, I'll never know.
Yeah. Well, I watch CTV, and the lady on.
Come here. Wow. He's a little bugger, right? I said no biting and no barking. You're doing it.
Do you remember the name of the CTV commentator for the news at night? I forget her name.
Peter.
She has a French name. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she's really good. I mean, she's the way she relates the news these days, especially about COVID. You gotta listen to her between the lines, because she actually has been making comments about this as well, and but she's done it in such a way that you can barely tell. But if you listen to her between the lines, you can tell what she says.
Julianne Cusack.
No.
Christina Suki.
No.
Megan Shaw.
No. She's the actor. She's the chief. She's the chief person in out of Toronto. CTV and National News. CTV National News. Her name is I can't remember her name, but she's excellent. And she actually makes comments kind of like under her breath. It's the way she actually reads her news.
Lisa Laflamme.
Lisa Laflamme, exactly. Lisa Laflamme is fantastic. I support her 100%. The way she talks, the way she discusses what's going on, she's dead on. She doesn't do it editorial, but you can hear the way she talks and how she makes the comments about what's going on in the news. She also is obviously upset about how slow this is going on and all the kind of bullshit that's going on, getting these vaccines into people, all the little bits and pieces. And it got me upset about the AstraZeneca vaccine, where they're trying to foist it on the older people because that's what they have. I still think that's a big mistake. One of my patients asked if his mother should get it because she has access to the vaccine. I think her mother is 67. And I said I'd recommend not. I would actually recommend not, because we know that the other vaccines are better. Period. Doesn't mean she won't do well with the AstraZeneca vaccine, but if those other vaccines are around, why can't she get that?
Okay.
that would be a better vaccine for an older person. We know that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How many people a year die of the flu?
I don't know what the number is, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of several thousand.
450,000, 600,000
You
worldwide.
think
per
so?
year.
It's four.
Okay, so
400,000 per year.
450,000 people didn't die this year.
No, but it's
I think that
it's not the point. The point is like how they pass away and what the burden on the healthcare system exists when they do pass away. In this particular case, you have everybody showing up in an ICU with a ventilator, and if they don't get a ventilator, they will die. With the flu, it's not quite that way. You can die from a number of other ways. But if you're on a ventilator and you have to be in ICU and you have so many ventilators left, then you're going to run into trouble, and that's what they're trying to avoid. They don't actually care. You see, the whole thing is not that you're going to necessarily die, but it's that you're going to. You won't be able to die in a sense naturally if you don't have a ventilator. So it'll be the healthcare system's blatant fault that there's not enough equipment to keep you alive, and that's what they're trying to avoid. That's what happened in Italy when they had the first wave. They had to make choices because there aren't enough places to put the patients. They had to make choices who's going to live and who's going to die because two people needed a ventilator and only one can get it. You know, and
But that's going to happen here. What they say,
Well,
there's a new one coming.
well, that's what they're trying to avoid, and the problem right now is that the vaccine's not coming in fast enough. We don't even know what the effect of the vaccine is going to be on the new variants because we don't have enough experience. We can't get, and they're still just doing the research now too. So we don't know how well the vaccine is going to even work on the variants. We should get the vaccines into people. That's the plan. Get them into people so we can at least deal with the basic DNA of the first virus and see what happens with the second virus. Hopefully there'll be some cross reactivity so the second virus, at least people will be. The second or third variants will be protected. Some people will be protected from it. Without getting the vaccine into anybody, then everybody's sitting ducks. So it's a sad thing, and that's why I say I was kind of okay when they were just talking about this getting the people in every 2 weeks and 3 weeks. But every time you hear on the news, it's always being delayed now. Everything is being delayed. The 80-year-olds are going to go. It's going to take another month now for the 80-year-olds. Come on, really? And we have that many 80-year-olds. It's going to take a whole month to vaccinate the whole province with 80-year-olds.
We don't have to. We just don't have the stuff to do.
No manpower, no vaccines.
Yeah.
That's right. Well,
That's it. Now they got to make up excuses for all the mistakes that they made.
Yeah, it sounds like the healthcare system.
Or the investments they made. One of the two. But if somebody was making money out of this,
well, that's the other thing.
and I'll tell you now, they should be hung because they've killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Every time a politician takes money, he's killing people.
Yeah.
And this Trudeau has killed a lot of people. A lot of people. And,
Well,
and you know what? He doesn't care. He's going to kill more. It's not over. That's far from over.
I think the first thing he can do in terms of transparency is do what the press want him to do, which is to show us what the contracts were, how the contracts were written for the initial delivery of the vaccines. You know, without even showing us the contracts, who knows what went on? How much money did it cost? When was the delivery date? How many vaccines were we expected to get? What would have happened had they not met their plan? What kind of penalty would there have been? We don't know any of this because he doesn't want to show the press the contract. So then, of course, everybody has their suspicions about what's going on now. You know, he's promising millions of vaccines, and we're still sluggishly trotting through this whole thing like it's like being in the mud.
Well, I don't know what to tell people.
People ask me, well, when are we going to get the vaccines? I said, I don't know. Oh, that's the other thing. Some of my colleagues are getting some of my medical colleagues in town have been given the AstraZeneca vaccine for their patients. Nobody told me, offered me the vaccines. Nobody asked me. I asked the director of our clinic, did anybody approach you to get the vaccines in our office? No, I never heard anything. I checked some of my communications. that I get from the hospital and from public health. They didn't ask us to call a place if we're going to get the vaccines. If you want to do the vaccines in our office, nobody told me. So who's getting the vaccines? How do they decide who's getting the vaccines?
You get lucky.
Well, luck shouldn't be really part of it. You know, it should be done. Like in my neighborhood, we have a high rate of COVID. In northeast Brampton, there's a high rate of COVID. I can understand where if you have a high rate of COVID, put the vaccines in those clinics.
Ow!
I haven't seen any. I don't even know where to send my
Stop it.
patients if I want them to have a
Stop
vaccine.
You bad.
In
bad
the
boy,
clinics.
You bad boy.
So what kind of business is that? You know,
Well,
it's a mystery. The vaccines are being sent to family doctors, but which family doctor? I don't even know.
How many people are you having a day out there
What
in Brampton?
for COVID?
Yeah.
Well, it says several hundred, usually 300-400
A day?
Yeah, cases.
This is another thing to think about. When they come out and they've had COVID, they still have the antibodies and they're shaking people's hands.
Well, they have antibodies, but we don't know. They may have antibodies. They may also have antigens. They may still have the virus in their body. You know, it may take a while for the body to clear any viruses from their body. But when you have the vaccine, how long will it take for you to be clear of any virus 100%? And even if you're clear of the virus, if you are in amongst people who have the virus, or if the virus is in the air, who's to say it won't be on your clothes and you'll be transmitting it to someone else that way, or on your skin, or on your hands? So and the other strains are a bit more contagious than the first strain. So we still have to be very careful. I mean, even if you had the vaccine, you still have to be very careful until everybody gets vaccinated. But as I said, we don't even know if the vaccines are going to work on the new strains, and so it's and without getting people vaccinated, we don't know how we're going to settle the overall issue of the closing and opening stores and the social distancing and
But you
keeping
know
the
what?
schools open.
We're at
We
the
don't know any of
stage.
that.
We're at the stage right now where people are going to be starving on the street, and it's going to happen.
Well,
And-
there's already more homeless people and people who
Well,
are
they're
unemployed.
creating even more. Apparently,
Yeah.
they're giving people a hard time with their weekly
Income.
income, and so they apparently the phones, and it takes you 3-4 days to get a hold of somebody, and then they tell you, well, you have to do this, they have to do that. So they're saving money there, and,
Yeah.
and these people that need it for their family, they're not getting
Can't
it.
get it.
They're not getting it,
Yeah.
right? Or they're delayed in getting it.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Again.
And they play games with it,
bureaucracy.
apparently, on
They
the
play
phone.
games. Well,
It's not right.
So I've had about 3 or 4 in the last 2 days. Older people come to my office and say, "Well, how am I going to get the vaccine? How do I get the vaccine?" "Well, you have to go online." I said, "Well, we don't have computers. We don't use computers. We don't know how to use computers." What is that? Oh, cool. So we don't use computers. And how are we going to get a vaccine? So well, you have to call a number, some 1-800 number or whatever. So one of my patients called the 1-800 number. It took her 4 hours, and she still couldn't get through. So I had to talk to her anyway. So I did it with my computer. I set up an appointment for her.
Okay, right.
But what is this? You have a phone number for people who don't have computers and they can't get through, and these are the 80-year-olds that you guys are trying to vaccinate. Did anybody not realize that many 80-year-olds don't know how to use computers? And how are you going to get them vaccinated if that's how you're going to register them? Oh, and the people who were trained to take those phone calls were told that they were going to get 3 days of training. And on the news today, what's the matter?
He's
See the
barking.
dog on the street.
Stop it. Oh, now they all start. My God.
On the news today,
because of one
these
little
people
pain in
came
the
in and
ass.
said that they got 3 hours of training barely to learn how to talk to people on the phone to arrange their vaccine.
Put him in the bedroom. Put him in the bedroom. He'll be
They're
quiet.
also hypers.
Okay, I got cookies here. I know that. It's quiet. What a mess, eh? God. And he barks from in there. You can hear him. Sit here. Sit here. Look, it's over here.
Anyway, people, I think we should be complaining to our MPs, to our members of provincial parliament, to our members of federal parliament. We should in Ontario, we should. I don't know who to complain to because we have the LINs, which are supposed to be the place you complain to, but there are 54 LINs, and none of them are voted in. The LINs are all elected and salaried individuals, so you can complain to the LINs. Probably going to not do anything because they don't have any votes. They're civil servants. They get paid triple digits or six-figure numbers, so they don't get voted in. So you can complain all you want to them, but they're not the ones who will change things. It's the people at the top, the members of parliament, and they'll tell you to talk to the LINs because that's what the LINs are for, to separate the complaints between the members of parliament and people. That's what we're paying taxes for. Fantastic.
Well, there's got to be a way we can get at all these people because they block you off on the phone. So there's got to be different ways to do it. You know what I mean? Find out where they live, go to their houses,
Yeah.
and knock on their doors and say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Somebody should give a list out of where they all live, and then next thing you know, there'll be some different moves. I'll tell you
Yeah,
when their families
Could
get the
Yeah.
problem. I bet you all of their families have got the injections.
Well, I'd like to know that, and I'd like to know what injection Eddie Trudeau's mother got as well. She must be in her 70s or at least in her late 60s.
Oh no, she's in her. She was 23 and I was. She'd be younger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Younger.
right.
So what vaccine did she get, if any?
Yeah, but what didn't Trudeau's wife have corona?
Yeah.
I'd say that's a crock. Nah.
Well, could have been. Who knows?
Right,
Who knows? Could have
but
been.
he probably had his injection when he went down to go get it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But at the same time, he's made himself a lot of enemies, and he thinks that they're going to go away. They're not going to go away, not this time.
It's just the way he makes the promises. His promises are so beautifully stated.
Well, like you said about the indigenous
zero,
people.
Zero action, you know.
I mean, indigenous people. I mean, I've been to reservations. I met a chief there a few years ago, and I think I mentioned it to you. And I'm telling you, they are something else. They're not like they were in the 70s. They're totally educated. I mean, they have their problems on the reservation with the drugs and stuff like that, but they address them.
Yeah.
And here we are. We took a big piece of land from him, made all kinds of promises, and he's telling them, "You're not getting any money."
Yeah.
And not only that, it's my understanding that when he was there, he says, "Don't worry about your water. You're going to get it."
Oh yeah, he said that a few times.
Yeah.
A few times.
I didn't hear him say that, and I didn't read that, but somebody was telling me that, and I'll tell you that it's.
Well, he said what he said was that we're working on.
I don't know why the indigenous people blocked the rail. They should all go down, circle his house, the one in Montreal, circle his house with their bows and arrows, and say, "Come on out. Don't worry, we'll go away. If you come out, we'll go away."
Yeah, really.
If you got 3 hours in your head.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's killing people up there. He's killing people here, and they don't care.
Yeah,
They don't. You don't see them laying up nights and worrying about all that. They don't.
It's insulting.
It's more than
It's
insulting.
very
It's telling these people that you're nothing more than an animal to me.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, not
You're
even.
you're just a set of hands.
That's right.
It's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Chinese. He's communist. Chinese do that. Chinese government. That's all they do.
So that's the other thing about the two Michaels who are going to be tried now in court in China. That's going to be interesting too. You know, the two
Yeah, I
Michaels
saw
are-
that today. I saw that actually
that's going
yesterday.
to be. Maybe it's time that we should take some really firm action, not only in Canada but also with our with allies.
Well, because
to-
Trudeau's
to
not going to let
block
us.
China.
Trudeau's not going to let us. He's not going to let us
It's,
do that.
You know, and who
But-
you know, and maybe take the Mong Wanzhou, the lady from Huawei that we have here,
Yeah.
under house arrest in some kind of mansion. What kind of house arrest do we have in Canada? We put out people in mansions for house arrest.
Yeah.
If she's in house arrest, put her in a hotel room or something, or put her in a jail like the two Michaels are.
Yeah.
You know, it's just absurd. It's like the Twilight Zone. We're living in the Twilight Zone. So, anyway, okay, I said my piece.
I got the other one
Do
crying.
you think it's
now
just because we're
because
getting old that we can't stand this stuff anymore, or what?
No, yeah, it's not because we're
That's
getting
what I
old,
think.
because we're more aware of it. We can see the corners that the younger people can't see.
I think it's because over the years we've seen this repetition too often. Right?
Yeah, that's what it is. They have, oh God. That little one, it's gypped. It's now, he's disturbing. This guy loves it. Oh, you're gonna drive me nuts.
But
You
yeah,
should, you should see them up in the park, though. They're beautiful
Oh,
up in the
yeah,
park.
yeah,
They
they're
run,
running
they
around.
play together. No, barking. No, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. You're a bad boy today. No crying, no barking. You always cry, you're a little whiner.
we go with
And
this old
when he
fad.
sees the other one getting attention, he's not gonna stay with you. There's no way he's staying with you. He's coming. Oh, yeah. Oh, Daddy's
Dad's in
mad.
trouble
Oh,
now.
watch out. Daddy's
in
mad.
trouble now.
Oh, yeah. Daddy's mad.
From both ends.
Oh, yeah, because he sees him on the right? You don't give up. You might as well watch this. This is fun. Go get him. Just tell him to be quiet, Logan. Tell him to be quiet. Say, be nice. You're not coming up. Oh, too late. He's not gonna go. See, he doesn't give up. No barking, you. You started. It's a puppy. He's learning.
Yeah, don't touch the hind end.
It's interesting to watch the way it's
It is
this
the
one. He's trying to
dynamics.
move up the ladder.
Dynamics of it.
Well, he was abused. Now it's free, and I guess if that's where he gets his toughness from being abused. You be a good boy now. No barking, no biting. I'll put you both in the same cage.
Ooh, that's easy.
Cage match.
He's gone. He went in. You know what he did, eh? I tried to put this around his mouth, right? And I knew he was going to get out of it, but at the same time, he got out of it. He started crying. I went up and got it, right? And then he's sitting here, and I'm telling him not to do anything, and he looks up at me. He runs in, and he goes and gets the tie and brings
He
it
wants
up.
to play.
And he wants to play. He's biting it up. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want that again. Oh, that's good. He's got a bone there. Good. That's fantastic.
Well, let's see what happens. Maybe you'll have some good news for next week. We'll see, eh, Ed?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's so depressing to see, and it's more depressing for me when I see other people suffer, because it doesn't matter to me if I kick the bucket. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm not scared of it, and I really don't. I have the zest to live, but if I got it and I died, I wouldn't. Actually, I wouldn't be upset if I was dead anyway.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't upset me.
Well,
If they
it's-
come and told me you're going to go, I mean,
No,
I'm ready.
we've lived a few years already, so it's not
Oh,
the
I've
end
had a
of the
good
world, I
life.
guess.
God's given me the best life a man could possibly
But there
have.
are a lot of young people, a lot of young families who are stuck indoors.
Yeah.
They don't know if their jobs are going to be here or there. They don't know if they can pay their mortgage. They'd like to get out for the summer. I mean, it's the summertime. They're coming soon. And who knows? We may be in a lockdown again for the second year. You know.
Mr. Technician, I'm going to ask you a question on open air here. Is there a way we can get everybody to call in? Would we have to use a separate number, call in while we're doing a show and ask questions?
Well, everybody would have to be subscribing. Everybody would have to hit
Yeah.
that bell notification, and when they get the notification that we're going to be going live, they'll be able to join in on the YouTube chat or the Facebook chat.
Okay, it's, but can they see us? Will they be able to see us?
As long as they've
Oh, yeah.
subscribed, they'll be
Subscribe.
sitting down in their seats at their computers
And they can
phones,
talk to us?
and they can message us through the messenger on the same program.
Okay, so let's get that set up and get a date that we're gonna do that.
Just gotta make sure everybody who watches likes, subscribes, and hits the bell.
Well, okay, but other ways to do it too. There's other ways to get people to look at it. Anyway, and the bottom line is we've got to set a date and do this. And we have to do this because there's a lot of people out there that want to express their opinions. I got it on Facebook all the time, and I tell you, if I really like one, I share it, and I congratulate the person who sent it. There are some people out there that are very fluent with the English language, and even if they're immigrants. I mean, I grew up in a place where there was French and English, right? So I know what it's like to be have it as a second language, getting around with a second language. We have to do something for this because there's no way people can vent. They vent on Facebook, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that have great input, and I'm learning that. People have more knowledge. There are people out there with a lot more knowledge than both of us.
Oh, for sure.
And it would only take one person who's part of the system to stir the pot. And that, if you can get the pot stirred and everybody pointing a finger and something is done, then that kind of stuff people will not be doing. I mean, politicians mislead us all the time. Sometimes you have to do that for their own safety. This is not for their own safety.
No.
You're misleading them,
Yes.
not for their own safety. You want to keep them ignorant so when they die, nobody complains, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, invest your money here, take your money here, look, we got this, we got that. Forget about it, buddy. Bring these people over here. They'll vote for us because we brought them. I mean, that's going to be all passé, right? And we had the best country in the world, literally the best country in the world.
Yeah.
And it turns out now we have the worst country in the world. We're worse than China because China's up front, right? You people have to do this, and that's too bad. These guys are trying to do what China's doing. And it's spreading to other provinces, the whole bit. So Trudeau is trying to take us apart. He is literally trying to take, no barking. Oh, jeez. Anyway, so much for the interruption. People get what I drift.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that we have to do. We have to join together and get something done. And even if, like they say, well, you're allowed to go out and you have to keep your distance. Well, if you can put a person every 6 feet around Trudeau's house, 50 miles thick, 1 million people do it, he won't be playing no games no more. I'll tell you that, because there's going to be some crazies out there. And it'll only take one policeman to set it off, right? If a policeman does something wrong, police, they go after the police, and it would happen. That could very well happen. Somebody starts organizing something like that, there's big trouble.
People get angry enough and
They are
get
angry.
sick enough and yeah.
I see it on the street.
Yeah, well, it's already on the street, and of course there are the anti-vaxxers and the ones who don't think the whole thing's a myth, and that's a whole other story. But by and large, people do want to get their vaccine. They do believe this is a danger, and they should get their vaccinations done as quickly as they can. You know, but it's just impossible. Everybody's waiting, and it's just happening so slowly.
Well, with that, is there anything new happening on the marijuana market?
Nothing new that I can think of. We get actually one thing that's interesting. I'm getting a lot of people renewing their prescriptions from my office. More than usual. You know, we get
You're going to get a ton of them shortly. I got a whole list of people that want them. They keep saying they want them, and I'm telling you, it's coming down to planting season in about 3 weeks.
That's right. The planting season is coming for those.
So you got to.
If you want to get your grow up going, your legal grow up, you know, you have to get started.
If you want it, you can give me a call, and you can get it here. or we can set up our office at Morningside. Whatever we can do pretty well the whole city, Mississauga. And now we're on the move, as you see. If anybody's ever seen what everybody's ever seen what we've done with the commercials, we're on the road now. We're on the road now. So I'm watching these guys because I don't want to see a scrap.
You did the commercial with the doctor. What was the name?
Newright. Dr. Bob Newright.
Yeah, Dr. Bob Newright.
Yeah.
That great product, the hair product, is
Oh,
unbelievable.
he's an osteopath and a naturopath.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
And he's got all kinds of diplomas, psychology, and he's like, the man is well educated. He's also very sociable. Right?
He seems to be a nice guy. Yeah.
So he's a super nice guy. But at the same time, if people want his product, give me a call. I'll get you his product.
Yeah.
Or in actual fact, it'll be on Dr. Happy Green's website.
Oh, okay.
Right? So he's going to have all this hair stuff on it. Dr. Happy Green's going to have hair.
Happy Green?
Happy Green.
Is that you?
No, that's not me. Do I look like a happy man?
You look happy and green.
No, I'm not a happy man. I'm just a guy who doesn't give a shit.
Because you're not green.
No, but I'm not green. You know what? I may be blue, but I'm not green.
Well, you don't look blue either.
Hey?
You look at that silvery hair that's happened.
Oh my God!
That beautiful silver hair.
I used to be blonde at one time, and I had hair down to here. Now that was beautiful to the women. Now they look at me and they say, "What's that? Look at that guy's face. He's got more wrinkles in a basket than forget it."
But that's like the Marlboro Man. Marlboro Man is so chic.
Yeah. That's what I should do. Get a pack of Marlboro and a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
But the difference between when we were young and today is quite a bit.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, even their adventure is different than ours.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They can't get the adventure we had. When we were kids in Montreal East, you could walk out for miles,
Yeah.
not worry about some guy picking you up in a car and
That's
taking
right.
you for a ride.
That's right.
And the kids were safe. Not today.
Well,
today.
I used to live in New York City in Brooklyn, and I used to take the city bus, to school. It took me about 45 minutes to get to school on a city bus. I was 9 years old.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think any 9-year-old would be allowed on a city bus right now.
Well, when you lived in the East End of Quebec and you were 9 years old, and you lived in a French area,
but
you made sure you took the bus because you didn't want to walk to school.
No, you didn't want to walk, and that's right. In those days, we were all young, and even here in Montreal, I took the bus to my school. But I was already you're already about 13, 14, 15.
People are changing since all over the world with all this social media.
Yeah.
And it's really had a big effect on the younger people. The younger people are...
Well, even with older people, I mean, I think I've been burned. I'm sure a lot of people have been burned. Where you see things, you see facts, you see statements written, you see videos going on. Some of these are trick photography.
Yeah, the kids are doing all that. And you know what?
Is it CGI? Or, you make
now
all
they've
these...
moved on to deep fakes.
Yeah, you can have a still picture moving, right? Like a video from a still.
What you do is you take multiple angles, or you have multiple photos over the internet of different angles of one person's face.
And
then you have
see, this guy has taught me.
And it's on top.
Yeah, unbelievable, eh?
Yeah.
This guy has taught me. I'm not a computer guy, and I'm learning. Right? I always had people doing that for me for the past 30 years or 20 years, 30 anyway. And I always had people doing it. My biggest mistake was not learning the computer. Because when I got sick and I come back and I'm all alone,
it's like your gateway to what's going on out there.
Yeah, but you know what? This gentleman's very patient, and he set up a system for me. I can do things now that I've been trying to do for the past couple of years, and I couldn't do because you get different people giving you different things.
Yeah.
And they're not patient. They make it quick. This guy's patient. And he makes you repeat right? He'll show me, like, not in a bad way, go
Yeah.
repeat it. He
Yeah.
doesn't say that, but he does. He says, we can do this, but you do it.
Yeah.
He's a great teacher. Like, I think
good.
that's
My
definitely.
compliments to the producer.
Yeah, he's the producer. We're just the actors.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the doctor on the hook.
Oh yeah. Well,
You're a hooker?
the hooker.
No, I'm not a hooker. Don't worry. I met a lot of those ladies.
Yeah. So.
In fact, I met a ton of them
over the years.
over the years. Yes. Well, we have that adventure,
You're a
right?
good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. Hey,
Yes, he's quieting right down now, Doc.
Yeah, good.
He's got a spot now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think that we have too much time left. I think we should call it a day. But let's get a date together and give it out on our next show when we can have a call in, a real chat.
Well, I think we still would invite anyone to put in their 2 cents even between shows. You got.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a comment to make, we can respond to it with our next show, and then make other comments and.
No.
You know, and you know, discuss
No.
what the opinions people have.
No, is no.
I think it's important to to get this thing out and to get everybody vaccinated. I really wish everybody was going to get vaccinated ASAP. We shouldn't be waiting anymore. Nobody should wait this long. It's ridiculous.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, God bless. And I think it's time to say good night.
Well, have a good night, everyone, and stay safe. Stay 6 feet away and stay safe.
That's right.
Take care now.